broadcasting to you somewhere from deep in the heart of Texas. Once again, it's me, Henny M. This is round two. Twitter. This cat right here behind me, over here, sneezed right in my eye a second ago. So I have to do it. So gross. So today, let's discuss us being aliens in this place. You know, we're in it, but we're not of it. We're strangers living in this weird land. You know, I'm gonna get off camera. I'm eating orange. Yum. So how can we thrive in an environment? And how do we stand up our? How do we excel in what we do while we're in exile? You know, Daniel, he was excelled without losing his identity. Now, what can we learn from Daniel about living in a pagan world? How can our light shine in an environment in which is often ungodly and full of darkness? Well, first and foremost, I believe that we should stand who we are. You know, we read in Daniel 1:7, the chief official gave them new names to Daniel. The name Belshazzar to Hananiah, Shadrach to Mishael, and Meshach and Azariah and Abednego. I butchered those names. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So why did he do that? Their new names were based on Babylonian culture and gods. For example, Daniel includes the Hebrew word for God, El, while Belshazzar includes the name of the Babylonian god Bel. The chief official wanted Daniel and his friends to forget their identity as Jews and take on a new identity, an identity tied to Babylonian gods. And in Daniel 1:8, it says, but Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine. And he asked he asked the chief official permission not to defile himself this way. So was food and drink such a deal for Daniel? Was it a health thing? Simply vegan? No, the food was not kosher. Food and drink had probably, been sacrificed to idols. Jewish food law is part of Daniel's identity as a servant of God and of Israel. So, whom was Daniel trying to impress? I mean, not the king or the interns from other nations. No, I believe Daniel was trying to impress himself. He wanted to remember that he was not like the rest of the world. He was one of the chosen people of God. Literally. So when we take a stand, we do not try to impose our moral standards on pagans. If ungodly people are immoral or have different values, they are living in a way that's consistent with who they are. So we need to be concerned what Christians acting like pagans. We need to be concerned when Christians are acting like pagans. Totally. Ezekiel, a contemporary of Daniel, he identified the problem that caused the Jews to be taken into exile. Now, I believe on that in It's Daniel 22, 6. I think it's 6 through 12 or 6 through 13. Let me see. Okay. So it's Daniel 22, 6 13. Reads as such. See how each princes of Israel who are in uses his power to shed blood? And you, they have treated father and mother with contempt. In you, they have oppressed the foreigner and mistreated the fatherless and the widow. You have despised my holy things and desecrated my Sabbath. In you, slanderers who are bent on blood, and you are those who eat at the mountain shrines and commit lewd acts. And you are people who accept bribes to shed blood. You take interest and make a profit for the poor. You extort unjust gain from your neighbors, and you have forgotten me, declares the sovereign Lord. So Daniel was not trying to change the eating habits of the Babylonians, you see. He was reminding himself and his three Jewish friends who they were, and that's God's chosen people. So, in the words of Peter, which earlier, we are chosen, holy, God's special possession. We are reminded that when we stand up, we are and how God's to live. A college student must be able to say, no, I don't get drunk. I think I'll pass on that kind of party. I don't agree with what that professor is saying. Being up half the night all the time doesn't work for me. I choose to go to church or Bible study, and my Christian friends keep me grounded. And for us older, the lines we draw in the sand might be subtle. I circle racing while we love rumors, gossip, and bad news. When we just say no to some of that, we take charge of our schedule to stay close to God and serve others, or can we go against the flow at work to stand for ethical principles? Can we choose not only what we put in our mouths, but what we allow in our minds and our hearts? When we take a stand, we need to be wise about how we do it. We don't come across self-righteous or arrogant. 1 Peter 3:15 through 16 says, in your hearts, fear Christ is Lord, all prepared to give an answer to anyone who asks you to give a reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect, keeping a clear conscience, so that those who speak maliciously against your good behavior in Christ may be ashamed of their slander. Now, Daniel was a wise man when he was sensitive to the situation of the charge. Daniel 1:11 through 16, Daniel said to the guard whom the chief official had appointed over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, please test your servants for 10 days. Give us nothing but vegetables to eat and water to drink. Compare our appearance that of the young men who eat the royal food, and treat your servants in accordance with what you see. So he agreed to this, and he tested them 10 days. At the end of the 10 days, healthier and better nourished any of the young men who ate the food. So the guard took away choice food and the wine they were to drink and gave them vegetables instead. Daniel won that battle, and he maintained his integrity from the start of his time in Babylon. We need to remind ourselves and who we are then. And we have to examine the environment we live. Now, Daniel 1:17 through 20 says, to these four young men, God gave knowledge and understanding of all kinds of literature and learning. Daniel, he could understand visions and dreams of all kinds. At the end of the time set by the king to bring them into his service, the chief official presented them to Nebuchadnezzar. And the king talked with them, and he found unequal Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. So they entered the king's service, and every matter of wisdom, understanding about which the king questioned them. He found them 10 times better than all the magicians and enchanters in his whole kingdom. And this is significant because the literature and the knowledge of the Babylonians included sacred writings, creation myths, astrology, and magic arts. And Daniel and his friends knew more about Babylonian religion and culture than most Babylonians. And Daniel, he could interpret dreams and visions better than the king's magicians and enchanters. And Daniel beat them all on game. How about that? Hey there, Red Jesus. Good to see you. If you want to join me, I can send you a link. Let me know. Now, some Christian schools refuse to discuss abortion, objections to Christianity or other religions, and some parents or churches avoid, talking about sexuality or secular music or media. And some Christian adults refuse to read news and opinions from secular sources, preferring to live in a bubble of information they find more supportive. So there's a different approach from Daniel and his friends. In fact, God helped Daniel and his friends excel in the pagan culture of Babylon. Now, like Daniel and his friends, the environment in which we live may not be friendly or even wholesome. I've seen where different churches they have groups of artists and performers, and they try to engage their culture with the gospel. And they recognize the difficulties of living as Christians in their circumstances, and they claim Daniel as their model. Now, Christians should excel in all areas of their life. We take care of ourselves to be as healthy as physically, emotionally, relationships. Should excel in learning with real well information and opinions that are developed. And we should aim to excel in areas like science and technology, art, music, writing. If we're not able to excel, then we should be focused on our work, committed to excellence and effective, team members in our group, in our communities. We should shine our light on shady dealings and dark atmospheres. We shine, by how we treat people. And even the most, menial tasks should be done as to the Lord. Especially, retired people should be known for us in the community. We should be known for the impact that we make and for what we add to the community. And we should shine in our relationships with people who are lonely or hurting or we should bring a ray of light into the atmosphere, at family gatherings or online conversations or where we are. Paul puts it this way in Philippians 2:14 through 16. Do everything without grumbling or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without fault in a warped and crooked generation. Then you'll shine among them like stars in the sky as you hold firmly to the world of life. Of course, light also encounters darkness. And we should not be naive about dangers in our culture. As we pursue money or success, engage in politics, or try to exert influence, we need to be wise. I mean, Jesus took this to his disciples. I believe it was in Matthew 16. He said, I'm sending you out like among wolves. Therefore, be as shrewd as snakes and as innocent as in a world that's often so ungodly and full of darkness, we should definitely shine and stand up for who we are, excel in the environment in which we live. You're going to have people that come into, your community and in your environment and try to destroy you and bring you down. And as long as you're standing, with the Lord, no will drag you under. Having faith in Him and staying strong in Him is what matters. In these last days, in these later times, there's a time coming when people are going to be so fearful and so panicked. They're going to come to you and ask you, well, because of this or that, does that mean that I'm going to hell? I have to have a firm answer for them. You're going to have to be dependable for these people and help guide them through all the darkness that's coming. Because we've got some really dark times coming on us, people. I mean, that's something that I cannot stress enough. God, but we have to remember too that God is in control. When the world seems chaotic, Daniel handles, situation. Oh, sure I will. Okay, hang on just 1 second, guys. Yeah, I will right now. Okay, hang on 1 second. Let's see here. I was worried I'm going to send the wrong one. Yeah, I hope this is the right one. So we know God's in control, even when the world seems chaotic. And Daniel, like I said, he handles the situation beyond his control with wisdom and faith. So when life seems out of control, does it sometimes seem like you're out of control? I mean, net politics, natural disasters, coronavirus, things that people different. There you go. Hey.
Hey.
Hey. How you doing?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Well, what were you saying in
I was pointing out like the path of the Old Testament.
Okay.
It's like think of the word chosen and then define chosen.
Okay.
When you hear the
God's
Who's
chosen.
go, "Oy vey, we're God's chosen people." It's like you've got to
Exactly.
ask them chosen for what?
Exactly. Because did Jesus not tell them that they are of their father, the devil?
Yeah, and it's
Hmm.
basically the Old Testament is supposed to be the history, correct?
That's correct.
Well, it
That's
basically tells the story of how the Jews were chosen by God and given a chance to be something better, and then rejected it and threw it back in God's face and became the cursed.
you know what I learned, and some people may not take this. I'm not trying to be blasphemous. I'm not able to follow this, but I learned that any of the names in the Old Testament that end in Yah, that's not our God. If it ends in L, then it's our God. How about that?
Hmm. In the Old Testament, it also says it's like how the Jews lost favor from God and became cursed in Amos 5,
Yahweh.
where
Go ahead.
where it starts off and it's basically Israel has fallen, Israel has gone beyond repent. No one will lift up Israel, as Israel is an abomination that is cursed. And then it gets to like verse 26, where it's like God saying to like the ooze,
The U's.
yeah, I'm not going to say the other name I normally give them because we're on air.
Well, U's. They were before that J was added.
Yeah, basically God says to them, well, what did you do when you're in the desert for 40 years?
Mhm.
You made tabernacles and set up shrines and idols to your god Moloch, who you created for yourselves.
Yep.
And God called them like children of the devil there and then,
Yeah, he did. He did.
and he
And
cast them out.
I've seen somebody else speak that the true God, that most people aren't even worship God, that the true creator God, he's only appeared in the Bible twice. In the beginning when he created everything, and he will appear again in the end when it's all destroyed. All these other gods and lords and all these other ones are not even our creator. They're little gods. They're little g's, fallen angel entities that are under God, or
Yeah,
aliens,
demigods.
or whatever you want to call them. Yep, yep. Twice though, created the world, and he'll come back whenever he destroys it. Yep.
With the Old Testament, when it's like saying about like Genesis, the Genesis you find in the Bible starts off at around chapter 30,
Yeah, yeah.
because like the first 30 chapters are apocrypha.
There's a whole thing, they've left out so much, they say it's because they didn't know where to put it, where to insert it because certain was acquired after whatever, but no, no, they've messed up the truth so much that no one knows, what's what, you know.
Well, the truth is,
Like right
humanity can't handle the truth.
well, right now we're under such a time distortion where everything is happening, and everything's so weird anyway. Time is being distorted right now. And I feel it, you know, those of us that are awake.
But I just hope time speeds up a bit.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling we're right here at the very end of it all. We just don't realize how late we are. With people, some people want to say that COVID, coronavirus is fake, it's not real. But I kind of feel like that's people being told they don't want to open their eyes and realize that
Mm.
that's a literal plague sent down from God. The seal
Funny
is being
story about
opened.
that. You know how they've been lifting all the lockdowns in the UK?
Uh-huh.
For the elections?
Hmm.
It's obvious it's like a smokescreen scam. It's like they're saying, oh yeah, numbers are dropping because these so-called vaccines they brought out. But like when they lifted the lockdown, everywhere is crowded. There's no loss of people.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I don't believe we've lost as many people as they're proclaiming that we've lost, but I kind of have a feeling that this is a plague sent from heaven. I mean, if China, forced vaccines on all of their populace, And now they're coming back and they're saying, well, to tell the truth, it's not really effective. You know?
Yeah, that's why it's funny with the airlines. Think about it. They tried pushing the COVID passport,
Mm-hmm.
and then they turned around and said they need cheaper COVID tests to test people.
Yeah.
If
And look at
the
what
wonderful vaccine was so effective, they wouldn't need the tests.
look at Ebola right now. Nobody on the news is speaking about Ebola. They're not saying that we had a case in Kentucky here in the States and that 60 people were under observation, you know, and they're not saying that, that Ebola is at stage 3 level over in the Congo, and in Guinea.
Mm,
I mean,
you got
you
to
know,
remember though, it's like we can't really talk against Ebola because that's considered racism.
yes.
Like Ebola's catchphrase, diversity is its strength.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I mean, there's so much that they just aren't even telling us about. You know, the CDC should have shot down these flights coming from the Congo and Guinea back in February, whenever they knew what was going on.
It goes back a lot further than then. It goes back to like the beginning of it. When it was in China.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's when they should have been
they
like
had
shutting down
Ebola.
all
Wait,
flights.
they had Ebola in China.
No, I mean with the coronas.
Okay, okay, yeah. I don't know. A lot of things we know we can be assured that are man made. There's a lot of other things that I think are happening that are sent straight from above, and people are too prideful to realize, that we're so late in the day and age that we're in. Yeah. I mean, like most, I hear, like preachers, that come on that have, thousands of people that go listen to them, and they don't even realize that the astronomical sign of the Son of Man coming in the clouds already occurred December 23rd. Because they keep talking about, oh, you'll see the sign of the Son of Man coming in the clouds. They don't realize that it's already happened. I mean, we're that late in the game. And let me ask you this: what would you say? What would you think if, when it talks about the scorpions, the locusts and the scorpions, being released from the earth, right? And then the stingers on the scorpions. Well, if you look in an airplane at the back of it, it looks like a scorpion's tail. And did we not see airplanes delivering stingers all over the earth with the vaccines?
It more refers to that, more like a plague of locusts.
Well, I'm referring to scorpions here now, and their stingers. You know,
And that from like the so-called vaccine is more what you'd call the mark of the beast.
well, yeah, but is it not a stinger? When people are getting a shot stinger, they're getting stung. I mean, think of it if it's being referenced, like that, because there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that's not literal. But what do you think about that? That don't sound right.
Sort of, but it's like every generation thinks it's in the end times.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, look at Israel. I mean, look, Jerusalem. They just now claim their Messiah, which I know they have many messiahs. I do know that.
What? So that the devil's like on the earth now?
Hmm. Well, I believe that's their. From what I saw under my research is that's their Elijah, the guy they claimed as being the Messiah. That he's supposed to go to the third temple and announce their Jesus returning, their Messiah. He's supposed to announce the return of their Messiah. Hmm. Yep, but they sure did. They sure did announce. They announced their Messiah. Yeah. I looked at it, and they said the guy's really, really he can say the Torah from beginning to end and with wisdom way beyond an old man's years. And yeah, you haven't heard about that?
No. No?
Yeah, yeah, I did a stream about it. Let me see what's his name. Let me look right quick. Hang on a second. I'll tell you his name. Yeah, maybe last week. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it on my phone right quick. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, but they did. They announced their Messiah. Okay.
Well, they can announce whatever they want, because when you look at the Jews in Israel, they create their own things for themselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if this is, here it is right here. Israel named their Messiah. So a word on the straw man. Okay, so let's see if I can find his name. I think I had his picture.
Not to speak of spiritually and physically feeding his flock.
Okay.
Is the Lord Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach.
See if I can find
And
it.
the Word was God.
Let me see if I can find it right
Pray
quick.
by faith.
I had his name written. Here it is, right here. I wonder if I'm able to share my screen. If it's, I can't get in trouble for sharing my own video, can I?
No?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Hang on a second. Let me pull it up. Then that way I can just show you real quick. I can just skip over where it is. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking that you got to see these people. They go crazy over this dude. I mean, they're hanging on to him, pulling on his clothes and stuff. It's just really bizarre.
Yeah, but what signs has he performed?
Oh no. He hadn't done. He hadn't done no signs and wonders.
Faith I received.
Not that I know of, anyway.
That's
I'm
because
just
he's
saying
like the false Messiah.
they're saying he's their Elijah. I mean, that's what. I mean, not everybody's saying that. I've heard big time, mainstream preachers coming out and talking about this, but they're not giving all the details. They didn't dig deep enough because um, I dug in really deep, and this is what I heard. This is my understanding of it. That he's supposed to be their Elijah. He's supposed to be the one that goes to the third temple and announces the Messiah to the world. Okay, here we go. One second. Okay, share. Okay. Share screen. Okay. In 1 second to pull this up. Here it is right here. Okay. All right. You can see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sky.
Let me go a little bit further over. Okay, here he is. Okay. Right here.
This is it right here. There we go. So this is him. This is who they're professing as their new Messiah. They said he's a really young, very shy person, but he's got knowledge way beyond his years. Look at that finger, how long it is. That's a long finger. Just saying.
Probably through generations of inbreeding.
His name is Rabbi or Rab
Shlomo.
Shlomo Yehuda Berry. Or Berry. I may be butchering his name.
Shlomo.
I think it's funny that Shlomo's in there.
Mm-hmm. That's his first name. Shlomo Yehuda Berry. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're saying he's there a lot.
There it is.
Going to be going to the third temple to reveal when Messiah's coming.
Okay, there it is.
And a lot of people believe that the third temple needs to be built right there where the dome is. That's not the case. They've gone back and done research, and they realized right where the gate is actually where the third temple needs to be built.
Yeah,
so
that was a pretty interesting video, though, right there. But yep, they've named
what I've been researching, the way Israel is, it's not even Israel.
yeah.
And it is typical of like the kikes, I mean the ooze, to steal someone else's land and steal everyone else's property, because that's just typical with their blood. That's why the gods cursed people. Yeah. They lie and they steal. That's like their genetics.
They do.
And it's when it comes to when it's like what they're calling Israel now is actually Palestine. And that's why the Palestinian people need to have the land back. It's time to like support Palestine.
People have been saying to support Palestine forever. You know, I've seen a lot of Americans, speaking out for Palestinians, and they literally have government officials knocking at their doors.
You've got to remember though, when it comes to American politicians, look at the ones that are leading it since like Trump.
Yeah.
And like his actions. It's sort of like
Israel called Trump a messiah. You know that. So that's what I'm saying. They have many messiahs. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like this sort of reminds me of a joke. What do George Soros, Gerard from the Subways commercial, and Bernie Sanders all have in common? I'll give you a hint. It's not children in cages. It's the shekel, 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 oy vey. The nose has been exposed.
Your nose always knows.
Yeah, there's 14 very descriptive traits they have. And 88 reasons why you need to point them out at every opportunity. Boom, boom, boom.
Well, the nose is number one, for the men anyway. And the little
then there's like then there's like the Pepe the Frog lips.
I've never noticed that.
The beady little eyes.
Oh.
The twitching whiskers. The curly tail. Oh wait, I'm describing a rat.
What about when they go like this?
Yeah, rubbing the hands together.
Instead of going like this, yes.
Oh yeah, did you see that animation I put in the group other day? Where it's got the Messiah going for a walk.
Yeah,
the animating skills getting better.
Yeah, they actually are. I'm scared to even produce any more videos. The last one I made, they took it down. And see, that's what I don't get. Other channels can go on there and they can speak about a spam-demic and a sleever and the same way I did, and their videos don't get taken down. I don't even have a big channel. I've only got 400 something subs. Nobody even comes to the streams. Always listen to my after I put them up. Yeah.
Well, I've only got like 40 subs on this channel.
Yeah.
2 on the other one, what you know about, and then the other channel's got like about 90 subs on it. But I'm not really going to promote that one on here.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame people. I wouldn't want to go to anybody's store when you've got a bunch of people acting like idiots or horses' asses in the chat. Disrupting things. I don't blame them. I seriously considered just taking the chat out completely, and just recording, the videos that I do on like Power Director and then just uploading them,
I've been experimenting with different platforms.
Because
it's like YouTube.
I really wish you'd go over to stereo. That is so much fun. I mean, there's no filter over there.
Yeah. I've been looking more into like the alternatives to YouTube.
Okay. Like BitChute?
Yeah, Patreon, stuff like that. Because if I'm going to get like the evil shills following me over there, at least I have to pay to watch me content.
Oh, wow.
I know the ones in particular, the 2 God's chosen people to like shell out the shekels, if you get me drift.
Well, I don't know. I haven't heard from, I in general haven't heard from any of God's chosen people in a while. Other than my fellow Jesus lovers, you know.
Yeah, thank the creator, I've not either. My spam
Yeah,
box was getting full.
yeah. Well, I don't know. Like all things, this too shall pass. Or like gas, this too shall pass.
I just think it's like insane though. It's like the one, you know what I'm referring to.
Hmm.
Blames me for everything, even though I'm not there. And just like, then just stops.
Well, actually,
Just stops.
go ahead.
It like stole the shoes off me feet, the shirt off me back, everything I needed in order to survive. And then it got
Yeah,
pissed off because I did survive.
right, right.
And I
Because it
triumphed.
thought, yeah, it thought you weren't going to be able to make it without it. Hmm. Well, actually, I was blamed for everything that happened, and I didn't even know I was doing anything. No, I was
Yeah,
told
it's
that you
like,
were a totally different person until you met us, until you met me, and then you changed, and it was all my fault. I don't know how that occurred because I didn't even know it was in existence. I didn't even know it existed. How was I supposed to? Yeah. Oh well, I took it like a soldier, like I always do.
I just thought of it in like another sense. Yeah, I've put up with the devil long enough now, so it's like I know how to defeat the devil. What don't kill you, make you stronger.
You got that right. Stronger, faster,
I'm
harder.
like, I'm like the phoenix. I'm like Leviathan. I rise from the ashes. Yes.
Yeah. Phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yeah, I'm like Leviathan. You can't get rid of me.
Well, I was asleep the other night, and right when you're coming out of, and you're still like in between, I had this voice come to me and tell me that the reason for the resets, the reason for the Mandela effect, the reason for the time distortion is because like Lucifer say, which they say Lucifer doesn't exist, but what I heard the voice tell me is that like Lucifer or Satan stands outside of time. That this world and humans are locked to time. We're locked into time. It's a trap. We're locked in. And Lucifer, he's not locked in time. He is outside of time, and therefore he's found a loophole. And so they keep doing these resets so they don't have to face judgment. And we're just victims, because we're not smart enough, and we're not realizing fast enough, that we're able to stand outside of it, that we're able to, if we knew what we were doing, we could walk through walls just like Jesus did. We can move mountains just like God said we could, but we're just not waking up to realize who we truly are.
That's because people don't understand the mathematics of it
Go
all.
ahead.
Everything goes back to mathematics. Like sacred geometry is like mathematics, and it all reverts to zero.
Yeah.
And when you
Zeros
tap
and
into
one.
like one's an illusion, all there is zero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just referring to the equations on the computer, zeros and ones. But you're right. Go ahead.
Ones are more like dashes, like spaces, than anything. They're just gaps between the nothing.
Yeah.
And it's people think it's like God consciousness. It's like that's one way to describe it. But the best is to think like God mind. Remove consciousness and think mind. Because it's like reach God consciousness. It's like unity.
Conscious and thought in the mind. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the beginning, it's like when there was nothing, when everything was zero,
Tohu and
and there was
bohu.
no form, no creation. All
Null
there
and
was
void.
like zero. And then it's
There was
like came along thought, and that thought was the first thought, which was God.
Right. I mean, there
And
was
from that,
darkness.
God created everything.
Dark doesn't reflect light, but light reflects dark. Mm-hmm. Yep. I think I said it right. Did I say it right? Yeah. 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 The darkness cannot reflect light, but light can reflect on the darkness. You know, it all
Yeah.
goes back to that. It all goes back to that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and then it's like the first thought started like separating itself. But what happens when you add 0 to 0? It still remains 0.
you can still get zero. 0 times
Yeah,
0 is always 0. Mm-hmm.
but when there's enough zeros, they start overlapping to make another 0, a bigger 0.
Yep. We turn that 0 into oh, that was cute. Oh, yeah. Well, recently I saw some information. I discovered that we have crackheads amongst us who are professing to be that they're God, and they're obtaining all their knowledge while they're under crack-induced high. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Wow.
The only time I've ever seen or like
Some of these
experienced
people
being around
purposes to.
crackheads is they're usually trying to
Mhm.
sell crap on Facebook or begging on the street.
Well, I mean, some of these people, I mean, they've gotten together and they've formed this group, and they're trying that their sole purpose is to go in and undermine people's channels. When you're out there trying to do God's work. But the way I feel about that is, if God truly joined people together, then they won't be divided. They won't be separated.
Well, if you look at crackheads, they don't have
With
God
somebody,
because they don't have souls.
Right, right. But you know what I mean? If God joined some people together to spread his gospel, to speak his peace, to wake people up, they won't be divided. They won't be separated. Because, the ones that you get separated from, they weren't sent to you by God, now were they?
I
Because
know,
by
and
his
it's
word,
like God works through like everyone with a soul.
that's right, though. But he says, whatever I put together, no man can drag under. No man can separate. See? Whenever I was at such a pity party, feeling so sad and sorry for, all the things that had occurred, that's exactly what he told me. And I've hung on to that, And from now on, that's what's in my mind. If somebody
Look
gets
at
caught
like
in they'll stay there.
the path
They'll
of the
stay
last like 5 years with YouTube.
there. Hmm. Yeah.
Look at all like the followers of Satan. What we've like come across. We've come
I
across
know.
witches that fuck cucumbers. We've come across coke head cowboys.
You're just a
And
cowboy.
then we've come across a few I'm not even going to go into.
People addicted to porn and people addicted to sex,
Yeah.
but they're on YouTube professing to be holier than thou. I don't understand it. Yeah, why would you have to guzzle down? I mean,
Yeah,
we've
but
all learned, we've grown together. We've changed a lot.
yeah, we've come across like witches and everything.
But you know what? We've always stayed true to who we are.
Yeah.
I mean, like with Floyd and some friends, they've never changed. They've always been who they are. When we communicate with one another, we're who we are. inside we're who we are. I don't put on a fake persona to come on here, and you don't do that, and Floyd doesn't do that. Whatever people see is what they get. That's who we are on the camera or off the camera.
Yeah, and the way I'm on and off camera, it's basically the same.
It is the same. You're the same person. I don't think I'm any different, am I? I mean,
No?
who I am. I'm who I
No.
yeah. I mean, how long have we known each other? Didn't I meet you in 2015 or 2016?
No, it was before then.
It was 2015. It was like
Yeah.
at the end of 2015 on Bluebeard. We met in chat. It was a long time ago. And that's another thing that it tried to say, that I was a liar. It tried to say that there's no way that you've known him that long. I said, okay, well, whatever. I was like, you can go back and look at his streams if they're still up, and look in the chat and you see what we talked.
No, it hacked and deleted that channel because it
Oh,
didn't like evidence, but it was stupid because it forgot to delete the other channel,
oh
the
no,
one before then,
was
what I
referring.
couldn't get on.
I was referring to Bluebeard's live streams, in his
Yeah,
chats. Yeah,
I
if they
know,
were,
because
if
me last channel, the one that got hacked and deleted,
Uh-huh.
was the only one I could do live streams on, because the one I had before then I couldn't use for hangouts and stuff.
Right. I didn't even know. Barely learned what Hangouts was whenever I met Cowboy. Mm-hmm. Yep. Candy Cupcakes and Cowboy were the ones that told me about Hangouts. Yep. I had no idea even what it was. That's how backwards I am. And finally, when I got Hangouts, then they stopped us from live streaming on from there. And then finally, when we all were together as a group talking, having so much fun, then they stopped us from doing that. It really sucks.
Yeah, but before they stopped group chats and everything, it was like they were trying to put the demons in amongst us to try and separate us.
True that. Like I said, whatever's put together in goodness, it's not going to be down or separated. That's how I feel about that. I mean, that's the word that I got, and that's what I'm standing by. So if people come and they go, then they were meant to come and go. If they stick around, then they were meant to stick around. Ultimately, we can't control another human being or evil works.
You got to remember that it's like these enemies we've come across from the devil. They always try and act bigger than they are.
Oh yeah. That's like somebody like me. Would you say, well, I don't think I should smoke on screen because people are going to think this or this or that about me. Well, that's who you are. Why would you want to be fake?
I know.
Why would you want to hide that? People are
It's
either
like
going to
the same ones what said to me I shouldn't do shots of whiskey on live streams and then start playing the knife game because they didn't like the tapping sounds.
Yeah.
And fun story, I've still got all my fingers.
That's your prerogative, right? Hey, there's a mute button. If you don't like the tapping sounds, then you could just mute it. I don't know what else to say. I mean, sometimes I would. It wasn't the tapping sounds that bothered me. It was the knife. I was always scared. I couldn't look. I was always scared you're going to hit yourself.
I thought the scythe was more the one that concerned you.
The what?
The scythe.
Knife?
It's like I used to use those daggers, then I had the scythe. And I'd be going faster with the scythe.
It was the knife. It was the knife. I was scared you're going to cut your finger. That still makes me cringe. I'm like, oh no, don't. I mean, I had faith that you knew what you were doing because you'd done it so many times. That's just like with me, when I sling nunchucks or I use a shot. I've used it so many times I could do it in the dark, and not worry about hitting myself, with a rock or with ducks. You know, you practice it enough, it's like riding a bike, riding a horse, or swimming.
With me, it's not practice. I just like get
Having a
blind drunk and then leave it all to God.
With me, it's not practice. I just I leave it all to God.
Yeah. Oh man. So I don't know what you're hearing over there, but I'm hearing over here in the States that they're about to raise the price of food and everything up by 30%. You know, they've already cut the portions down so tiny that, I mean, it's not even a portion anymore. And when you buy a can of soup, you're getting just a can of broth. And so now they're going to raise 30%. When they did that toilet paper shortage, you know, I used to buy toilet paper for, I don't know, $6 for a great big old huge like 12 pack. And now it's like $15, $20 for a 12 pack. I mean, they're fixing to make it really rough. I don't know
They've
how
been
people,
doing that for years over here.
yeah. I mean, I've watched them mess with the food ration, the food portions that you purchase and stuff. And I've watched the cabinet, you know, the shelves go bare over here. But raising the food up by 30%, you know, I hear the food and the gasoline prices are fixing to go up. Yeah.
Yeah, but thank God, like open border Biden got in. Let's hope he's in for at least another 15 months.
Yeah, I expected him to already drop dead of a heart attack, for real. Did you know that anytime in here an oath to Osiris? And they say that they truly don't know if the president actually becomes possessed by that god or not. But did you know that? I just barely found that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's freaky. You know? I think they all get possessed, actually. I think they all get murdered once they get sworn in and they get taken over by something else. You know, it goes back to the book of Jude where it talks about the Pleiadians being twice dead and defiling their own flesh and being body snatchers, you know?
Yeah, I just think it's funny, the title of that book.
What book? Jude?
Yeah,
Hey,
because that's like the real demon right there, if you get me drift.
hey.
Like, look
Well,
at Trump, he was good before he started, and then it's like, as soon as, like, he'd been sworn in, he changed.
yeah,
He was taken over by the demon.
yep.
And then next thing, he's banging his head against the wall with that funny little hat on.
Well, I don't know. I think Bush Jr. must have got possessed by a retarded demon because he seemed kind of coherent when he first went in, and then after that, he whoa, he went dee 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 dee, you know. Man, Bush Jr. was like, wow. I mean, he was like one step above mentally retarded.
I wouldn't say one step above, I'd say one step below.
Oh, yeah, I almost said that. I just didn't want to. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know what the heck is going on. Our future. You know, we've got all this stuff coming in, this debris field coming in, and people want to say that Nibiru is not real or whatever. Well, Russ Dizdar did an interview, and Mike from Around the Way, they both did interviews yesterday, and I had heard some stuff that they were saying, and he's anticipating it April of next year, between now and April of next year. And you know, they're saying that by the time we can actually, they say by the time you can actually see it with the visible eye, it's going to be too late. You know, and they're talking about. They said that April 25th, something big's going to happen. We're going to have a natural disaster happen first, and then April 25th, there's going to be some big policy changes here in the States that are not going to be good at all. So
From what I've observed, it's everybody's running around like headless chickens at the moment. It's like, they're thinking it's like the end times, but in reality, it's just the days of Noah.
I think we've already had the second seal opened. You know, I think the second seal has already been opened, literally. Oh, my devices are freaking out over here, making all kind of weird noises and stuff. But yeah, I feel like we've already had that second seal already cracked open, and people just don't realize we're so late in the time. But I could be wrong, like you said, and that's what my husband says too. And people have been saying it's the end of the world since Jesus left.
Literally, what I've been seeing is I've seen the Nephilim return.
Huh.
I've gone face to face with a Nephilim and taken it down.
Mhm.
Bluetooth connected.
That's when I found out that what they say about iron and copper is true.
Mhm.
And kettles are a great place to find that, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Copper kills giants is what I always learned. I've always been taught.
Yeah, but you got to admit they're not human when they're like 11 feet tall.
Right. Is that what you were referring to too? That you can use copper to kill giants?
Well, you can bash it around the head till it like drops to the floor.
Yeah.
And then you can
Well,
have the guard saying thanks, that blank really was doing my head in.
yeah. Well, it sure is funny how the United States, our coins aren't even copper or silver anymore. They're just junk metal. And we know there's a reason for that. They have a reason behind their madness. Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you need copper, it's all around you. It's in the walls.
Yeah. Yeah. It sure is. There's a lot of people over here that scrap for a living, and they go in and break into empty homes and steal all that stuff out of the walls, and then they go sell it.
Over here in the UK, that's usually like crackheads that do that.
Uh-huh. There's a lot of people over here that do that stuff, man. It's horrible. Hmm. But I think they've kind of cut down on people doing it now because they make them show ID, and all that stuff gets reported to the police department, so that way people can't do that crap more. Yeah, pretty sure.
They find ways around it.
Yeah, there's sketchy people out there. Some pretty sketchy people out there. I went with my daughter to have that biopsy. She's fine. Thank God. She's okay. Yeah. She gave me $100 for my birthday.
That's awesome.
I know. And then my husband, he gave me $100, and I got me 2 pair of sheet kickers. I got me 2 pair of cowboy boots and two sets of wind. So I had fun. I got to go shopping. Yeah, I figure, hey, it's the end of the world. Why not buy wind chimes? Oh, well. But anyway, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I've been hearing lately. I was trying to look some of the stuff up, so run it across you and see what you thought about it, but I'm having trouble pulling it up. Let me see if I can find it real quick. What they were saying. Let's see. See if I can get it to pull up on my phone. Okay. And I wanted to talk about it. Cannot refresh. See, I mean, I don't know what's going on with my telephone, man. It's not wanting to work properly. Okay, here we go. Maybe this is it. Hang on just 1 second. I gotta take this. Hang on. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't been able to eat lately. I don't know. There's a lot of people I've been talking to, and they're going to the same crap. Where my stomach just hurts constantly. Time I try to eat, it's really painful. I don't know what. And I went through this back a few years ago, if you remember. It feels like a
Yeah,
stomach virus, but it's not a stomach virus.
yeah, I had something like that, but it was like complete different. That was from eating like Yorkshire food.
Oh,
Yeah, I ended up
doesn't
getting
matter what
worms and
happened.
parasites and shit, but they're all gone now.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you eat chili, you said, but all you have to do
Yeah,
is take
and pumpkin
ivermectin.
seeds,
Ivermectin is a
cayenne pepper.
yeah, ivermectin for COVID, and you can get it from the where you get some apple flavored horse deworm, and take enough for a 200-pound man, and you won't have to worry about it. You'll get all the parasites out of your body, and you won't get COVID. You know. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any fear
Let's
of
see.
getting that because I think I already had it. Remember that time?
Yeah, yeah. You
Before
and I
like
both
they
had
were
it.
saying it on the TV.
Yeah. Remember, you and I both had it like in
18,
2020
like
or
December.
right there at the very beginning of it.
Yeah, before they even
Mm-hmm.
even announced it as like being like escaped from China,
Right. Yep. I,
and
I
that was
believe
like
too.
3 months after it had been released. They actually put it,
Mm-hmm.
like in the media.
Mm-hmm. I just don't understand how a lot of people are saying that it's just a flu or it's just a cold. I think it's probably a flu on steroids, a flu hack or something, because I mean, I literally had 5 people die in my close circle die from it,
What you were
if
told
people
of
say
was that.
it. Well, I mean, one of my best friends, Kenneth, he lost all the taste in his mouth. Everything started tasting funky, and they said that's the bad COVID. Whenever your taste buds mess up real bad and your sense of smell. So, maybe that's just all a big line of crap that they're feeding us. But I don't know. I still think that 5G and COVID go together, because remember, that's over there in Wuhan, China. Where funny enough, the biggest concentration of Christians live. That something happened over there. Do you remember when they were showing those videos where they were getting that Wuhan wiggle? They would be standing there
Yeah,
normal, and then their body would just start trembling and shaking, and then drop down dead. You know, I think that I really do seriously think the shot and COVID and 5G all have something to do with each other.
yeah, but think if that was like the COVIDs and stuff, it's like that's the only place on the planet it happened like that, and that was before they'd even invented the vaccine.
Yeah,
That was
they use
definitely
the
something
these
else. That
test
was like
dummies
they'd been
because there's
poisoned.
well, yeah, I mean their populace is so high. They've got such a huge. That's one country I would not want to go to war with. Have you seen their soldiers? I mean, they ain't playing. Yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with China.
I
Saying.
think if China like tried invading the UK at this point in time, I'd probably help them. But then again, Palestine could like try and invade in the UK and help them as well, just
Yeah.
because of everything I've faced over here. It's like this government, it doesn't care about its people. The people don't even care about themselves or anyone else.
Hey. See if I can get you back in. You there?
Yeah.
Hey, you there? Okay. I've lost my internet connection, so I just came in on my phone. Yeah. My internet's crappy. It's acting really crappy again.
I think it's because we're talking on things we don't want us to talk on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My internet's crappy. It's acting really crappy. I wonder why we're getting a delay. There we go. That was me. I had YouTube on my phone. Yeah, this happens a lot, though. You know, I'm surprised. You know, they hadn't just taken the stream down a few things that we've said. You know, we don't live in a free system anymore. We live under communism. You know, I don't think we've been free for a while.
Freedom is an illusion.
Do what?
Freedom is an illusion.
You're right. You're right.
As long as you follow like the system of man, you're a slave.
The slave
That's the sad
system.
truth.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I don't know how people are going to make it. You know, whenever they, you know, when they totally abandon everybody who's helpless little babes living in cities that can't, you know, take care of themselves. But you know, the good news is when the shit hits the fan and they go underground, they think they're going to escape all this stuff that's coming, but they're going to get squished. The earth is going to burn them up and fry them and squish them, you know, because they're thinking they're going to go underground and then reemerge as the gods, you know, as the ones in charge. But I don't think it's going to happen this time. They're not running from anybody. If I was offered a free ticket to go underground, there's no effing way I would go underground. No way. Mm-mm.
I always think of it this way. It's like, you know, when it gets like the end of days, and it's like instant death. I always think of it as I came into this world kicking, screaming, and covered in someone else's blood.
Yeah, and that's how you're going out.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Well, do you know that you know, we hear people saying all the time, oh, they're worried about nukes, you know, getting nuked and what have you. But you know, the development of toys, you know, weapons of war, their technology has gone way past nukes. They have stuff way worse than nukes now, you know, plasma rays and things of that nature, you know, that we have, you know, don't even know about. You know, it's another thing that Mike was talking about yesterday, you know, because he used to be in government. You know, he's retired now, but he still has a lot of contacts, you know, and plus he's a man of God and he has spiritual discernment. But, you know, he was, you know, talking about the weapons, you know, weapons of mass destruction. They're way worse than nukes. They're way worse than we could ever fathom. I mean, you've seen like out in the desert, right, where literal buildings have been melted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just think about that. That's some of the ancient technology that I think that they've rediscovered, you know, from Antarctica. That's just my
they got it from the Tool Society.
It's just my opinion on that. You know, and then I hear people like my daughter. When she and I were on our way to her appointment, she was talking about global warming, and I started laughing. I said, Chelsea, global warming's not real. I said, and she looked at me like, what? You're crazy. I said, no, that's something they've made up. You know, we're under a grand solar minimum. There's no such thing as global warming. I said, you know, and the reason why the ice is melting in Antarctica is because they've got huge freaking heated blowers over there melting that crap, trying to get down to the antiquated technology.
It's not really that, it's more the pole shift.
Yeah, well, that
the
too.
one that happened a few years back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but see, they want
to the magnetic pole that shifts, but in reality it was an actual pole shift. The Earth's just catching up.
Yep. we're definitely gonna have one, and it all goes back to Planet Nine or Planet Eight, whatever you want to call it in Hebrew. You know?
One thing that made me laugh the other day is I was watching the volcanoes, in Iceland going off,
Yeah,
and they're saying, "Oh, it's climate change, it's pollution."
yeah.
There's no pollution to it. It's just the atmosphere being fixed.
Oh, no, it's pollution, Jerry. I'm kidding. Well, something else that they were saying, that there's a second sun that's coming into our system. And that second sun is like sucking the power, the juice out of our sun. And that's another reason why our sun could literally go supernova because, if it can't withstand, all the pressure or whatever. But that's why our sun went from yellow to white because of that second sun in this binary system that's coming in. And what else was I going to say? There's something else to do with it too. I don't even know now. But anyway, they said that, about the second sun, sucking on our sun, and it could actually make it go supernova and explode. But they're also saying that that Niebuhr is a comet. Niebuhr is a comet, not a planet. It's a huge comet, and I don't think I've ever heard anybody say it was a comet before.
I've not either.
Yeah, but that's exactly what Mike said. He said it's a comet, and see, Russ Dizdar was talking about. I think that's his name. He was saying that they won't know exactly this or this or that until they can get their calculations right. But then Mike came on after Russ, and Mike said, the thing about it is they're not going to be able to get the calculations correct because of this system, this binary system, and you have to see it in infrared. It's kind of like it's a dimensional thing. But he didn't say that, but that's kind of like what my perception of it was. I don't know.
I think it's good to say that, like, dimensional. Good sort of gives the game away.
And something else I've been thinking about too. In the Bible where it talks about in the end times, we're going to see the stars falling from heaven. Well, what about these ships that are coming in through these portals? Do they not look like they're stars that are falling from the heavens? That's just another analogy that I've made. It doesn't mean jack. It's just my own brain, how my brain's functioning. But that's another thing. When I thought about the stingers and the tail of a plane that's delivering these shots, then I'm also seeing stars falling, like the ships that are coming in through these portals. That's literally like stars falling, because there's fallen angels or aliens, whatever you want to call them, coming to the earth, falling to the earth. I don't know. Does it sound mad? Maybe it sounds mad. I don't know. Everybody's brains function differently. That's kind of like where I grabbed all this stuff. See, right now, I can't connect to the internet once again. I'm being charged.
Still talking to me.
Yeah. I'm on my cell phone, though, using my cell phone service. Yep. They're charging me up to $200 a month, and I don't even have service 2 weeks out of a month. I'm really about to go switch to somebody else because I'm tired of this. I can't even get broadband. I'm on DSL. That's one step above freaking dial-up. And they don't even offer DSL to people anymore. They just have to maintain mine. Yeah. Which I think sucks.
It's between providers.
Yeah, because AT&T over here, they are so rich beyond your wildest imagination. The company is merged. They have DirecTV. They own it, the satellite company, and then they also have cell phone service, and they also have the internet and home phone. They are so wealthy. Why can't they go ahead and upgrade these people, these like me and rural people out in the country, and give us broadband? Because they're that greedy. And they're not going to miss one little person that pays $200 a month, with all their wealth. I think I'm going to switch over to a satellite provider, a company like my daughter has. If it's not too high to switch, I'm going to have to call her and ask her what the name of the company is. See how it works. It may come out, that it may come out that I'm paying the same amount of money though, or even more. Who knows?
It'll probably be less in the long run, but more at first.
Yeah. A lot of times they offer you 12 or 24 month deal to switch over. Maybe that'll be the case, and I'll be lucky.
It's usually the setup fees that make it more expensive.
A lot of times they offer you free to switch. That'd be nice. That would be nice. But I don't think they charge me more than $200 to set it up, and that's about what I pay every month anyway. Oh goodness! I finally got my trunk done. Actually, in the process of making this one trunk, I made a second one. It holds all my stuff. I'm not gonna have stuff spread out all over the place. Now I can organize it. Are you still staying at the same place you were at?
Yeah, something else around again.
I haven't talked to you in a minute, so I wasn't sure. Rowdy, hey, what the heck? I don't know. This stuff is going crazy. I don't know what's up with these devices. I think I'm hacked again.
Yeah?
Yeah, for real.